Hi, Phil.
Hey, what's up, bro?
Okay, I'm okay. Listen, how's your mom and Angela?
They're hanging in there. My aunt's not too bad. She needs a heart valve someday, some point. She'll get that maybe in the next month or two. And then my mom is still in the hospital because she can't walk with her walker because she's
Yeah,
got a little fracture right on top of her hand there.
right.
She can't really grab the walker, so I'm waiting to bring her home, and she'll get some physical therapy at home, learn to use the walker again. And her legs are pretty weak because she's been in bed. They have her up, doing a little bit, but all her heart rate and all that stuff is taken care of. Blood pressure taken care of,
That's
So
good. That's
kidney
good.
normal for her. And,
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
but
sure. It must have been rough. All this has been rough on you, Phil.
yeah, she's been in there. She's been back and forth home and hospital and rehab since Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot, Phil.
a couple of months she's be back to walking with the walker and doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? We're closer and closer. That's how it is.
We got Russia, we got earthquakes. What else do you want? You got North Korea wanting to shoot off some missiles.
Right, right. Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, we thought it was 40 years ago.
Right, right.
So another generation has come and gone.
That's for sure. Well, I'm at the top of my generation now.
Yep.
I didn't hear. Did your mother come out of the hospital?
No, I got to keep it as long as I can.
Okay.
Was getting paid for by Medicare, coming out of my paycheck. So I just may come home this week. She can't use her walker because of a little crack on top of her over here. Her wrist,
Okay.
lint on it. So we're hoping the doctor will come home so she can rehab at home. The PT people and the nurses' aides and all. So we'll see. Her kidneys are back to level 4 like they always were. And heart rate is back to 75 or 6 or something like that. And their blood pressure is good. We'll see. She's eating good.
Good.
Go to the bathroom. All that good stuff.
Yeah.
At that age.
Yeah.
Just thanks everybody for their prayers and their cards, of course. Just happy enough. Frustrated a little bit, but happy enough.
Sure.
She's waiting. We're all waiting.
Okay.
I know you're high and Ree, but this is hello, Rhea.
Hi, Ro. Oh, Rhea. Hi, Rhea.
Hi, Ree.
Well, let me get on the other screen. Last virtual journal. I'm using here.
Let's talk to Susan Waite. Pauline, it's not so bad. She looks like she made a little comeback. So she says Pauline still needs our prayers.
Who's that?
Pauline Salerno.
What happened?
She got lung cancer.
You're
Stage
kidding.
4 lung cancer. She's getting chemo. We got to do something on her throat. But,
Stage what?
Lung cancer, Lee.
Stage 4?
yeah. So they're giving her chemo and got something going on with her throat. I was not sure what Susan was talking about really, but she needs our prayer still. She's got some issues.
Is she home?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. She wasn't home last week, but I don't know.
So sorry to hear that.
Who's that? Phil, how's mom?
Pauline,
Yeah, Pauline Salerno's got some issues. My mom's still in the hospital because she can't walk. Her legs aren't strong enough to get a rehab her again. So they're not going to let her. We're going to try to let her go home, get home. We'll rehab her at home. She could stand up and take a couple of steps and walk around, turn around. But they want her to be able to go, 30 feet or something. So she's got but her kidneys are back to level 4 and heart rate is good. They got her on some new drug and some blood thinner. So that should get her through.
How about Angela?
And she's doing okay. Linda Pine was up here for the weekend and
Is that who? Oh, okay.
from Orlando, and my aunt needs a heart valve eventually, and maybe in 2 or 3 months she'll get a heart valve replacement. She got her broken right arm right now.
Oh,
Once she gets that out of the cast, then she'll get the heart valve.
yeah.
Doesn't pay to get old.
I don't like the alternative.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think so we got it 7:30.
Are you home yet, Sam?
Yeah, I'm in Jersey. Yep, I'm here. Yep. Cold New Jersey. Well, it was warmed up today, right? To
Yeah.
38.
Oh, yeah. I opened up the pool today.
You get spoiled in Florida with the weather, you just
Can imagine.
you just expect it to be warm, but you don't appreciate it till you come up here and it's like, whoa. Poor Nikki, she goes out, we put a coat on her. She goes out, does her business and runs back in. Where in Florida, I think it extended her life a little longer because she liked to stay out and walk because she doesn't need a coat. It's 75 degrees, so she's walking around. But here, she runs out, she does her business, and then runs right back in. So she gets more exercise down there. All right, why don't we begin? Philip, can you open with a prayer?
Heavenly Father, we humbly bow before you now to thank you for the many blessings you give us every day, especially for your word of truth, which is the only way to salvation. Father, we know that the signs are all around us that you're going to send your son back soon. But we see them, we're watching and praying for his return. That's what we are living for. We're living to serve you. And we ask that you help us and guide us, direct us to do things that are pleasing to you. Let us be examples among the believers and all those we come in contact with, and help us to spread the gospel message. But we know the days are short. You have appointed a day which will send Jesus back to this earth to establish again the kingdom in Israel. This time, Father, we pray for those throughout the brotherhood that are having issues with health, with COVID, with issues with mental health, and falling away from the truth and losing their faith and being lost. So heal us all according to our various ills. Help us to continue on in faith till you send your son back to this earth. And
It's frozen. I think it's frozen.
I don't know if we froze or maybe the kingdom's here. Maybe Philip was taken away, you know.
Guy
Hopefully
here.
we're all with him.
Guy over here.
Everything okay?
Should be enough angels to get all of us, I guess, huh?
Yeah, looks like
Yeah.
Phil went blank.
Oh, you might have just lost the video. Okay, so we're back. We're winding down. My brother did call me. How long can I go? I go, listen, I mean, how long I can go. I'm already at 10 weeks. I committed 8 to 10, so don't press me, I said. I said, definitely this week, we can carry it to next week depending on discussion. But listen, let's start. We're trying to wind down. It's a big subject, but we need to hear other people. It's hard. We don't want to be like some of the churches where you hear one person speaking all the time. It's nice to have a group of people. I heard good reports, John, that you did well. I enjoyed your class last week, so that was good.
I was just wondering how that turned out because I have a hard time seeing everybody on the screen,
I heard it was great. I heard everybody, the people who contacted me, gave you the thumbs up,
Yeah, I just wanted to go over the numbers in that. I thought the numbers were really interesting, those two meetings.
I think what's deceptive is the fact that we have, let's see what we got here. We got 17 people on YouTube, right? Sorry, on Zoom right now. But there's generally about 10, like there was 2 people who contacted me within the last 30 minutes and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be on Zoom, but I'm going to be on YouTube for whatever reason. So that's fine. I mean, that's good. As long as they're participating.
Well, Dave Ferrano's on YouTube. He just called me. He figured out how to get on YouTube.
Yeah, so that's cool. That's cool. And those of you that are on YouTube, so there might be 10 or so. So we're getting 25 people, which is great. And there are some, I'm not going to mention their names, that text me. So I keep my phone on so I can see if they're commenting. And I met fact one of the sisters that did comment 2 weeks ago about, I'll tell you what it is real quick. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it was, the subject was on the angels, of course, and on female angels. So and it was a quote from JT, Brother John Thomas. So we'll touch on that in a minute, see what you guys think. I thought it was an interesting read, what she sent me. So we'll talk about that in a minute once I find it. Well, the subject which we started 2 weeks ago, which really should have been probably the beginning. We started with really the word angel, and angel, if those of you who've already searched it out, if you do a concordance checkup on the word angel, and I'm going to do it right now just real quick, so I'm not making sure I'm not telling you false truths. But the first time angel is used is in Genesis 16, where it says, and the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain. So that's in Genesis 16. But we know that angels are mentioned in the first book of the Bible, which is Genesis, the first book, the first chapter of the Bible, Genesis 1. So what we attempted to do, and I apologize if I confused anybody, but I wanted to show angel, the word in the Hebrew, and I'm not going to repeat a lot of this because you already know this now for a fact, because you're all going to take a test I think next week it'll be a 3-page test. I'm only kidding, no tests. But as you know, in the Old Testament, Malak. So in 16:7 of Genesis, that's Malak there, right? Which means a messenger, right? And then, of course, in the New Testament, it's Anglios, right? Which means the same thing, messenger, okay? We talked about the book of angels in Malachi, but we're going way back now to Genesis 1, which talks about the Elohim. And we haven't even mentioned about the Elohim. So I don't know if one class could do it. Maybe we'll spill over into next week, but I think we can conclude, I think, by next week. But so let's turn to Genesis. Let's get our Bibles out, which I'm sure all of you have. And let's look at Genesis, the first chapter. In the beginning, God. And this is important because as we know, there's a couple of times in Genesis where it uses the plural word us, let us. And some have interpreted that as the Trinity, right? Let us make man, let us. This twice it's used. We'll go over those 2 times and we'll try to get some understanding about that. But let's go back to the first verse, which basically reads, we all know it by heart. We said this when we were kids in Sunday school, right? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. All right. And we know, and if you don't know, and you know now, but I'm sure you know this already, but the word God there is Elohim, right? In the beginning, the Elohim created the heaven and the earth, or the angels, the mighty ones, through the direction of Yahweh, of course, right? So they didn't do it on their own. They didn't just decide to create the heavens and the earth. And we're going to look at some verses to prove that out. And as a matter of fact, if you look at most of the times, I think if not all the times God is used in the first and second chapter of Genesis, look at verse, all these verses, verse 3, verse 4, and God said, and God saw, and God called, and God said, and God made, and God called, and God said. I'm looking at verse 8, 9, 10, 11, God, and God said. It's the Elohim, okay, through the direction of the Almighty. I'm going to pause for a second. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, does everybody kind of agree, or is everybody on the same page? Just want to make sure we're all in sync here. And someone that's YouTubing, I'm not going to mention her name unless she wants me to mention her name. But she asks us to look at Genesis 5:2. So let's look at it. Let's look at Genesis 5:2. Okay, Genesis 5:2. Okay, let's see if she has a comment here. It says, call their name Adam, and same Hebrew word. Okay, let's see. 5:2. Male and female created he, them. He blessed them, called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Okay, she says, called their name Adam, same Hebrew word as in, same Hebrew word as in Genesis 1:26, and in Genesis 1:26 for man. Okay, so, I see the point now. And God said, let us make man, okay, same Hebrew word, Adam. Interesting, right? Adam in 1:26. So we'll get there. We're not going to get to 26 yet, but good point. Thank you very much for that comment. What other verses could you think of that say that God created everything? Like it says specifically in Genesis 1 that the Elohim, right, did all this. But where could we go to in the Old Testament that points to where God says he created? And again, it's not a contradiction, God did create everything through his angels, he gives the angels the commands, right? They do his pleasure. They do his work, right? They do his commandments. We read that how many times in Psalms 103. But where else in the Old Testament could you think of where it mentions that God create? I'll give you one. Maybe you could think of another one. Let's turn to Isaiah 45. So Isaiah 45:18. All right. Philip, are you back? I was worried about you because you blanked out on us. You still there?
Yeah, I lost my internet. I don't know why.
Awesome. Well, Phil, why don't you read that? Isaiah 45:18, where it says that Yahweh, God, right? Yeah, this is Yahweh now, who created, or again, I'm sorry, you read the verse.
For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else.
Yeah, so this is God, right? This is Yahweh. He created it, right? But through his angels, and that's how I understand it. That's how I understand how God works. The eyes of the Lord. How many times is that mentioned in the scriptures? I mean, and then anybody, if you got some comments, you can. I mean, the way I've always looked at it as, that's how God does everything he does through his angels, right? From Genesis to Revelations. Now, we've mentioned this throughout the classes over the last 10 weeks as, they gave strength to Jesus, when he was in the wilderness. I mean, he says the angels will be present at the judgment seat. Maybe our angels, we don't know.
Yeah.
We're kind of up in the air about the personal angels, but they're going to be, they're throughout the scripture from Genesis all the way through Revelation. Did I hear somebody?
Sam, did we ever get around to discussing whether the angels were created or from a creation or made angels?
Yeah, we didn't go. We didn't go into it. We danced around it because there are two trains of thought, right?
Yeah. The reason I'm saying is we know that God himself, Yahweh, is from everlasting to everlasting.
Yes.
And he alone is from everlasting to everlasting. I would assume, again, happens when you assume, that would not apply to the angels. At one point in time, God created something. I don't know. It's obviously difficult to answer. Because in the beginning, is at the beginning of the replenishing of the earth, or the causing things to appear, or is it the actual creation of the earth? I'm not sure we can know that. But only God was from everlasting to everlasting. So you have to assume the angels came from. I thought we lightly discussed it, but I don't think you can come to a concrete answer.
Yeah, that's my understanding, Dan. I mean, Dr. Thomas was pretty pointed as he felt there was a pre-Adamic race. It's hard for me to understand that, but I'm not ruling it out. Like I said, I don't think it's a deal breaker. We know for a fact there's only one Redeemer, right? There's only one Jesus, right? So again, it just raises a lot of questions. I think we'll hopefully have that all answered in the kingdom. We know that.
Thinking about the phrases in Job when the Lord questions Job, where were you when I created the heavens and the earth? And in one verse it uses Lord Yahweh, and another verse it uses God Elohim. I'm not sure which one applies.
Yeah, that's a matter of fact. That's a good set of verses that we're going to bring that up. So why don't we do it right now? Let's turn to Job 38 because that's a good verse pointing back to creation, mentioning the angels. So let's look at that for a second. So Job 38. And again, anybody have any thoughts and comments? It's a Bible class. I see some 2 or 3 in the Finger Lakes that have joined. It's good to see us all. Any thoughts would be appreciated. That's great. That's why we have a class. So if we turn to Job 38. And so let's read 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's see who we got on here. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Gary, can you, or Leah, can you read those? Lee?
All right, 38, verse 4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Or who shut up the sea with doors, when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the womb?
Okay, that's good. So again, where were you, Joe? When I laid the foundations of the earth, this is the creation he's talking about. If thou hast understanding, so
Verse 1 mentions the Lord.
this is God, right? Without a doubt. But most feel that the morning stars sang together and the sons of God. Probably the only, as far as I know, there's another verse that someone can come up with where most of the time, I think we pointed this out, we were talking about Job. I'd say most of the time, 10 out of 12 or 11 out of 13 or 11 out of 12 sons of God referred to men. But this definitely is, we're talking about angels here. Well, they shouted for joy, at this time. So the angels, right? The sons of God here, referring to angels. So
You can read Psalm
listen.
33.
Oh, go ahead. Who said that?
Psalm 33, 6 to 9.
Let's take a look at that. Psalms what?
33, 6 to 9.
All right, let's look at that. Psalms 33. All right, 33, 6. Okay, 6 to 9. All right. Phil, you want to read that? Because I'm just like.
By the word of the Lord were the heavens made,
Yeah.
and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. He gathereth the waters of the sea together as an heap. He layeth up the depth in storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spake, and it was done. And he commanded, and it stood fast. So, he gave the word. The Elohim or the angels did the work, perhaps. It's interesting to me, too. The first verse of the Bible, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The planet Earth, which still has its name. And he made all these other planets. He all the hosts of the heaven, all those planets have pagan names. Pluto, Mercury, whatever, Venus. But yet that Earth, in the beginning, created the heavens and the earth. He named the earth, and that name continues till this day.
Right.
It's a special place.
Okay. Let me give you a quote from Brother Thomas. Again, we're talking 170 years ago. This is a quote from the Herald of the Future Age back in 1847. He says this: God, tell me if you agree with this, God, by the Elohim, created the heavens and the earth. He said, let there be light. He made the expanse. He called it heaven. He did it through them. He called it heaven. Okay. And then they executed what he empowered them to perform. Let me repeat that again. They executed what he empowered them to perform. I really agree with that. That sounds, that's succinct. The way he puts it to me, it's pretty straightforward. It's just, it makes sense, right? It makes sense, especially when we get to the 26th verse, which we're not there yet. And let us make man, right? God made the heavens and the earth. We know that, but through his angels, he gave them the power and they did his handiwork. Just like we read in Psalms 103, right? They do his will. They do his pleasure. They are ministering spirits, as we read how many times, especially in Hebrews. And especially to those that'll be in the kingdom. I mean, they're working with us. They're working in our lives. They're working in the world. How does he set up kings and take down kings? Probably through the angels, right? Who are working on his behalf throughout the earth. So, okay, back to Genesis 1.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah, go ahead. Somebody?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
Pete.
back in Job 38, verse 41.
Okay, hang on.
The other word.
Let's get to Job. All right, Job 38. Back to Job 38. Okay, go ahead, Pete.
41. Who provided for the raven his food, and his young ones cry unto God. They won't wander for lack of meat. I just looked up that word for God. It's
L. It's L, right?
L, which could be angels, because in the lexicon it has God, God-like one, mighty men of rank, mighty heroes, angels, God. Could be false gods, could be other things too. But so that might intersect what you're saying, where God is in control, but he uses his angels to do his bidding. So I don't know how you differentiate, like the first word for him in first verse, Lord, is definitely Yahweh, right?
Now, which verse are you referring to?
In Job 38:1.
Oh, Job 38. Okay.
Yeah, when it says Lord, we know that's Yahweh, right?
Exactly. That is Yahweh.
But it leaves it open on verse 41 to L. It's a different.
I never looked. Be honest with you, I never really got into that verse. I have in my concordance here L for God here. But let me look at. You said the first verse. We know that's the Lord is Yahweh. That's
Yes.
the word Lord there. So that is Yahweh. So okay. So what's the overall point that you want us to consider?
Well, in one it's talking about God for sure.
Yes.
The Father.
Yes.
And in verse 41, it leaves it open. It could be the angels. So this is how he could interact with his angels. Well, I mean, why wouldn't you use?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Why wouldn't you use Lord in verse 41?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's L there, which generally it means God, Yahweh, but it does use L there, not Yahweh.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's just.
Hey, Sam,
Yeah, go ahead, John.
when we say in him we live and move and have our being, we know that everything that, our breath and everything comes from him. I don't think that's different with any other creature on the whole earth, even the angels. It's through God that they live. I mean, their immortality is derived from him. And without God, they wouldn't have that, So
Right.
everything is from God, I mean, we have to see it that way. Even the angels are dependent on God for what they have, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a good point. Good point.
So when we get into the kingdom, we still are going to depend on God, and that's what I'm saying. It's, in other words, he is the creator and sustainer, and in him we live, move, and have our being, and it will always be that way.
Yeah.
Since he's eternal, we don't have to worry about it.
Yep. Full agreement there. Yeah, it's interesting how we're like the angels, though, right? I mean, and I think that was one of the points that I read in Phanerosis with Dr. Thomas of his understanding was that we're being like the angels. We're still learning, right? And I think you had pointed that out, that they didn't know everything, right? It was what God gave them, and they still questioned. They still had thoughts. They still did his will. I think we're all in the agreement that there's no such thing as an evil angel, someone that rebels against God. That would be catastrophic, right? But they could, it seems like they have, not, I won't say free will, but they have a mind to investigate, to consider, to think. I think that's what you were pointing to when we were talking about Job, right?
Yeah, here's another interesting. I think we have to understand God in a totally different sense than what we do, because it says He's from everlasting to everlasting. He's
Right.
the uncreated. He never was created. He was always there. So, like, there's no time for God. He lives in everywhere in all time. We're even as immortals, we are going to pass through time. And that's why we don't know everything. We'll learn things as we go along. God is the only one that is in from time. There's no such thing as, it doesn't have no power over him. He created time, so how can it have power over him?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So that being eternal like that, and being from everlasting to everlasting, that's why he knows everything, because he's already there. I mean, why we have such a problem with that, It's because we can't think in that type of
Minds are like little peas,
Yeah.
We supposedly, I think we use less than 10% of our brains. So it's like, imagine if we used, 30%, 50%, right? I came up with another verse. I was asking before about verses to show that it was Yahweh or God that created the heavens and the earth. Turn to Exodus, the 31st chapter, Exodus 31, verse 17. Let's see if we can find another reader. I see there's over 20 people that are on, but not a lot of showing their faces. Who could read that? Someone
31.
different. Exodus 31, verse 17. Someone who hasn't read.
It
I
is a
see-
sign between me and
That's
the
Stuart.
children of Israel
All right.
forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
Okay. So, here the Lord, Yahweh, right? This is Yahweh here, right? He created the heavens. And so we know it was God, but through the angels, even though it's the Elohim said, the Elohim created, the Elohim, it was through the Elohim. It just makes sense, right? I mean, there's plenty of angels to do his work. We don't need to go through how many there are, but they were there at creation. We read that from Job, and we know that. But it was God here, and here's another verse, like Isaiah 45. Here we have in Exodus 31 that it's Yahweh that made the heavens and the earth. So it was God, right? Through the angels. Oh, go ahead. Someone had a point?
So
Go ahead.
in Luke 9:35, I often wonder, and I think I'd be confident in saying this is the voice of God.
Now, where are you, Dan?
Luke 9:35.
All right, hang on here. I'll turn to it. Give us a minute. Luke 9.
Every instance, I think we're confident in saying it's always an angel.
Okay, 35.
Even in the sense where it says Yahweh, it's the Yahweh angels. My name is in it. It's always the
Right.
angel.
Okay.
But in 9:35, can an angel make this comment?
This is my beloved son.
Yeah. Can an angel make that statement? Is that accurate?
Why do you think that was an angel, Dan?
Right. That's what I was going to ask.
Say that again. I don't think it's an angel. I think this is the voice of God.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the one place that I think it has to be the voice of God to make that statement. This cannot be an angel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
I would agree with that too. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is his beloved son, right? Is this right after he was baptized? Correct.
This is the Transfiguration. This is the Transfiguration.
Oh, the Transfiguration. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
I know when he came out of the waters, right? This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased, right?
God,
right?
same thing. I think in these two cases is the only place where I think you have to conclude that it's the voice of God himself.
Right.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, well, that's good.
How do you see it?
I think a natural example helps understand this. And should be something that would be hard to convince someone from society that, well, here's an example. When the president of the United States sends a secretary of state to Russia, and he talks to Putin and tells Putin, you get your ships out of this area, otherwise we're going to have. Who is saying that to Putin? Is it the Secretary of State or is it the President of the
Well, it's
United
the
States?
president on behalf of the,
But it's the see on behalf of but that's the bottom line. He is speaking the way now. It's not as good an example because the Secretary of State is a human being. He might get rattled, or he might say something that he wasn't supposed to say. But this is not going to happen with angels. Angels will. So if an angel came to you and said, "The Lord says, stay in that house another 2 years," it's God saying it. I have no problem with the angel who quoted it just before. My name is in him. What do you think that meant?
I think we understand that. We understand that pretty clearly, Mark. But I think in this situation, there's a statement being made that I don't think an angel can make. This is my beloved son.
Good in a representative look. I don't know. I couldn't be 100% one way or the other, but would have no problem that an angel made that statement representing what God has said. You either got to go with that position that the angel was in place of God often, or now I'm not saying in this particular instance it just happened. The other one was, by the way, when he shows Moses his back parts in Exodus. I don't remember where the verse is, but some people feel that was literal. I personally, I think the angels did have the representative authority of God. And if an angel said something or did something or made an edict about something, it is God saying it. And just because it was an angel didn't take anything away from the import of that statement. So if an angel said, "This is my beloved son," it was God saying it through the angel, just like he created the earth and the heavens through the angels. Who did it? Well, you could say the angels really did it. No, it was God who did it. It just happened to be through a medium. So I wouldn't be 100% that it wasn't an angel. Could it have been God? Absolutely. But I think our whole precedent is an angel spoke and did things on behalf of God. And therefore, it could be said, God said, "Let us make man in our image." I mean, I've been arguing that for my whole life, that this was an angel, but it was really God. It could be said that God said that.
now we got a couple of hands and I got a couple of texts on YouTube here. So let's go. Gary, I see your hand.
I got a cross-reference. The Apostle Peter in his second letter comments on this, both at his baptism and the Transfiguration.
Let's turn to it. Let's turn to it. Second Peter what?
2 Peter chapter 1, verses 16 to 18.
All right, 2 Peter 1. Why don't you read that, guys? 16 to 18.
For you have not followed cunningly devised fables when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty. For he received from God the Father honor and glory, when there came such a voice to him from the excellent glory, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." And this voice which came from heaven we heard. You know, Peter was one of the three with
Right.
Transfiguration when we were with him in the Holy Mount. So
No, good verses. Good. There's good cross-reference there.
God the Father, honor and glory, when the voice came with excellent glory. So Take it as you will.
No, good cross-reference there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I think Gary's right on that. Of course, like it's such a dynamic thing that he's saying, the Lord, this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. You know, I mean, he could let one of the angels say that, but it sounds like what along with Gary's quote there from Peter there, that it really was God actually saying that his voice was being heard. You know, it just seems that way to me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I kind of lean toward it was God, but to Mark's point, and we've read this many times, but Exodus 23, where we read where God is sending the specific angel, and this angel says, it says, and if thou shalt obey his voice and do all that I speak, this is the angel, right? Then
Yeah.
I will be an enemy to thy enemies and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For my angel shall go before thee. So again, I still feel that it's God because this is his son. Could it be an angel? Possibly. But that's my thought. I mean, anybody else have any other thought? I mean,
There's a hand up somewhere.
yeah, I'm looking to see everybody's hands. I'm trying to, is there a hand?
Yeah.
Vinny, is that your hand? Speak.
Oh, sorry,
Speak.
Vinny.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, not a specific comment unless you want to make a comment about Uncle Mark's point on the proclamation of Jesus. Outside of that, Elohim is used 2,600 times in the Bible.
Yep.
Scripture 2,600 times. I don't think it's your point that all 2,600 times Elohim is referenced to angels, or is that your point? Like, I got a follow-up point.
I'd say most of the time they are. There are times, which I have some examples. I don't know if we're going to hit it tonight, where it's something else. But
Well,
most
let me just give you two. And it's out of Deuteronomy, so we know Moses is writing here. Deuteronomy 4:23 and 24.
all right,
And
hang on. Give us a minute to turn it up. So Deuteronomy 4. Go ahead.
and then another famous one I'll read.
Wait. What verse? What verse?
23 and 24.
Deuteronomy 4 verses 23 and 24.
Hang on. Let me look at it.
Let me read it.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You can read it. Yeah.
Yeah, take heed unto yourselves, lest ye forget. And this is out of the King James. The covenant of the Lord, that's Jehovah, your God, which is Elohim, which he made you, which he made with you, and made you a graven image or the likeness of anything which the Lord thy God hath forbidden thee. And this famous verse, for the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God. So again, this is there's a preface of the word God, which is Elohim, with the word Lord, which is Jehovah. So we would agree that in these two verses, this is the reference to God, right? Not angels. So, and again, it's used in the context of Jehovah. Now, it doesn't negate the fact that could have God used his angels in the creation, right? But I think in these verses, it does say that now, if you just go down just a couple verses to verse 28 of the same chapter, it says, and there you shall serve gods. That word is Elohim, the work of men's hands and wood and of stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. Another famous verse. So Elohim, as we know, is plural, and it has, I would say, multiple applications, even outside of the word angel. It is commonly used, but I just wouldn't be so dogmatic to say that it is exclusively.
Yeah, well, I never said, and I don't think we ever said that every time, because the word doesn't mean angels. It's not anglios. It's not malak, right? It's mighty ones. So that's what the word means, right? Mighty ones. It's other definitions, but pretty much most of the time it'll be defined as mighty ones. Most of the time it's angels, but you're right. We haven't gotten there yet in this class about the Elohim not being angels themselves. But also, then what I've also found that there's some phrases which are Yahweh Elohim, again, representative of God, the mighty ones who again represent God. Not every time, but I feel that at least I understand in the first and second chapter, it was the Elohim. And I think most, I'm not just saying because Dr. Thomas said it or Robert Roberts, or most of the writings that I've read of the pioneer works and people much smarter than me who understand the Greek and the Hebrew, especially the Hebrew, all have the understanding that this was the Elohim under the direction of God that formed everything at the beginning. So it's not like I'm saying it. I'm also cross-referencing. I told you that's how I study. I read it, I pray about it, I read it, and then I bounce it off of any writings that I feel comfortable with of brethren who have written or spoke on the subject, and then I read it again, and then I come up to my own conclusions. So, all right. So good point.
Then when an argument can go both ways, usually context would have to dictate what it is.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. I agree with that. I have one of our bearded brothers up in Finger Lakes has sent me something to look at. Let's look at Acts 12:23. So let's just give him let's give him some time here to look at this verse. An example of an angel slaying a king. Let's look at it at least. I don't want to negate anybody that's participating, right? So let's look under Acts 12. Acts 12, 23. Someone can read that?
Immediately, the angel of the Lord who smote him because he gave not God the glory, he was eaten of worms and gave up to ghosts.
Okay. Anyway, so here's an angel slaying a king. Interesting. Okay, yeah, we remember that instance, right? So, all right. Okay, let's get back. Because we only have time flies when you're having fun. There's like 13 minutes left. Didn't get through half the stuff we wanted to cover. In Phanerosis, I thought this was an interesting statement from Brother Thomas. He says that the Elohim is a word compounded of roots that signifies mighty ones, united as one. And this idea is strengthened when the plural noun is used with a singular verb. So what I believe he's pointing to is when we read Genesis 1:1. Let's turn back to Genesis 1:1, where it says, "And God, in the beginning, God," or "in the beginning, the Elohim." I think what he's saying here, the Elohim here is plural. It's a plural word. It's a plural noun, the Elohim. But created is a singular verb. So in the beginning, the Elohim being plural, the mighty ones, created under direction, of course, of Yahweh, created singular verb. That's what he's saying here. Created the heaven and the earth. So I just wanted to point that out. He also says that they have Yahweh's mind. They act for him as he would act, yet they are individual personalities, even as we will be in the kingdom. I thought that was an interesting thought. That's Brother Thomas. I'll say that again. They have Yahweh's mind. They act for him as he would act, yet they are individual personalities, even as we will be in the kingdom. I thought that was pretty interesting, the way that was worded. So I don't know if you all agree with that, but I kind of like that phraseology there.
That's very basic.
I hear Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry, John,
basic.
go ahead.
That's very basic with that. We believe that they act like a one unit, as far as the angels and God, but like they're all individuals. And to me, what would be the idea of being in a kingdom and being just like a mindless robot? You know what I mean?
Good point.
We're still going to maintain, even though we got gained immortality, we're still going to gain that sense of wondering, around what's around the next corner. We're going to look into things. It says the angels desire to look into these things. So they're not robots either. They're thinking about these things as they go along.
Right. And I think you brought also a lot of examples on how Michael did certain profound acts, in Daniel, as well as we read throughout the New Testament, and Gabriel, right? They had specific tasks. Then we have the angels. We haven't even looked at it yet, but there's several instances where angels had swords. Now, do all angels have swords? I don't know. Maybe not. But there was some that had a sword ready to be drawn, especially the one that killed 186,000.
Maybe 12 legions, they all have swords.
Exactly. So it is an interesting subject when you start digging into it. I mean, these are real beings, and they're under God, right? And they want us to be in the kingdom, right? They're preparing us. They're on our side. They want us to be there. So whether we have a personal angel or not, they're going to be at the judgment seat. So they want us to be in the kingdom, and they're working under God's command, right? So okay, only got a few minutes left. Did I miss anybody's hand? I want to make sure. Pete, did you have a hand or no? I don't know if your hand is just touching your computer or you had it up. Did you say something, Pete? No. Okay. All right.
No, I didn't say anything, but I was talking to Kathy. We're just saying, does an angel really? We know it was this. The angel had a sword drawn.
Yes.
So it's like a figure, right? But do they really need a sword to kill?
No.
That's a good point. Point. Probably not.
Yeah. Good point, Pete.
185,000. He didn't use his sword.
Hey, maybe we could make a general statement that if an angel was operating like the creation and these other scenarios that are coming up, if they were acting on behalf of God, can we not say God did it?
Sure.
God smote that person, or God created the heavens. That's what you're saying, really, Sam, aren't you?
That's
even though technically it was the angel, it was God, the orchestrator. You know what I think a very poor example, but it worked. Do you remember the gangster in Chicago? His name was Al Capone. Do you remember? Do you remember how they nailed him? He himself never killed. He himself never did the actual work. It was all his compadres. They nailed him on income tax evasion. But we know in reality, and this is what they knew, that if Al Capone told his henchmen to make a killing or take out this individual, it might as well have been Al Capone. He was the one who was orchestrating the thing. It's a poor example, but it makes the point. The angels were acting on behalf of God. And I'm telling you, if an angel told me, Mark, don't take Route 80 to go to the camp, take 46. I will tell you, this might almost sound sacrilege. I would almost be against God to not follow that angel's recommendation. And I hope you agree with this, because I think, Sam, that's what you're in essence saying. The angels were God's representatives.
Yeah.
In a very perfect sense. Very perfect sense. Even though they could think, they could think they were individuals. When they did what God said, it was God doing it.
Right. All right, listen, with the 5 minutes left, we haven't touched this yet, but I really want to just touch on it. But next week, we'll hopefully conclude with this. We need to explain Genesis 1:26, where it says the Elohim created man in his own image. So was man created in the image of the Elohim or in the image of God? Don't answer it. Don't answer it. We're going to answer it next week. So take a look at that. Genesis 1, 26 and 27. In the image of the Elohim, it says he created him. So are we in the image of the angels or are we in the image of God? Don't answer it, but think about that. And then I want you to also look at Genesis 3:22, where it says the Yahweh Elohim said, that's the Hebrew. The Yahweh Elohim said in Genesis 3:22, behold, the man has become like one of us to know good and evil. Now let us put out his hand and take out his hand and take also of the tree of life. What does that mean? We're not going to, it's a little bit deeper than just answering it in two sentences, but I want you to think about these two verses. So Genesis 1:26 and 27, really. And also, you also can combine Genesis 5:11. I forgot about that one. In Genesis 5:11, it says, in the day that the Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of the Elohim. So who are we in the likeness of? And what do the angels look like? We can answer that from other testimony, right? Abraham, Lot, right? So think about those verses where, because we are going to be like the angels, right? And they're probably like us in the sense of looking, but I'm not going to answer it now. But next week, that's what we're going to tackle. What does it mean? Because as we all been down this path, people who do believe in the Trinity will look at Genesis 1:26 and say, let us, in other words, let us, the God, the Father, and the Holy Spirit, right? We know that's not true, but that's anyway, that's what we want to find out. And the Elohim is the mighty one. So we'll tackle that. I got 3 other texts from people that are texting me that are on YouTube, but we're down to 2 minutes. So we really, to be fair, we don't want to really jump into anything else. So is there any final comments? Let's not comment on these verses, but for homework, again, Genesis 1:26, 27, Genesis 5:11, and Genesis 3:22. We got to explain that. What does it mean that the man has become like one of us? What does that mean?
Sam, I think that chapter 5 is verse 1.
Say it again. Sorry. Gary, is that you?
Yeah.
Or John?
Gary, 5.
Gary, I'm sorry.
5 is verse 1 or 11.
Oh, sorry. Is it 1? Not, I said 11.
It's one.
Yeah, it's verse 1.
Yeah, I was doing it by memory. I'm sorry. Never do things by memory, especially when you're going to be 70 in a couple of months. So it's 5:1. I'm sorry. So Genesis 5:1, Genesis 1:26 and 27, and Genesis 3:22. For homework, just reread those verses and let's come to some conclusions. Yeah, I've got, like I said, I got several texts and someone even called me that's on YouTube, but I couldn't answer the phone and do the class. It's hard to do both. I'm just glad we got a good crowd. We got 20 people on Zoom, and we got generally with about 10 or more on YouTube. So it's good. We got 30 folks that are interested on the subject of angels, which is it's a great subject, isn't it? Okay. Any last thoughts before, outside of those verses I just gave you? Any last thoughts? Because we really need to also look at Psalms 8:4, all right? Where you've made him a little lower than the Elohim, and then that ties into Hebrews. He was made a little lower. What does that mean? Is that Jesus was made a little lower than the Elohim? What does that mean? We should dig around that a little bit and try to figure that one out, right? And then what does Psalms 97:7 mean, where it says, worship him, all ye Elohim? So there's some verses that are really catchy that I think we'll tackle next week. But again, in Hebrews, right? Let all the angels of God worship him, right? And after his ascension, it sounds like in Peter that all the angels are under Christ, under his direction. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that's what the Bible says. So we'll talk about that as well next week as well. And that's all. I mean, I don't want to go any more than that. Is there any last thoughts? All right, we're all ready to get ready for next week to pound this one out. So, Mark, it looks like if we get through next week, you're on for the following week. You know, unless we get to some controversy or some, good discussion that leads us into another week. But I think we should be able to conclude next week. There's just a lot of verses, a lot of good stuff. And I appreciate all your comments. Vin, you're correct. I mean, not all Elohim, it's mighty ones. So not all are angels. You're right. But I do believe in especially the first, and it's 26. You're right. I didn't bring that out. Over 2,000 times. I don't know if there's any other word in the Bible that's used 2,000 times. Over 2,000 times. I think is it God or is it Elohim? I think the word God is used. Is it, Vinny, are you still there or did you drop off?
I'm here. I was looking at, there's a Bible program. It's free if anyone's interested. It's called Blue Letter Bible. It's free, and it's like a free concordance if you ever want a Blue Letter Bible.
Really? King James?
Yeah, it's very easy to use, and I looked up you can look up in the concordance, and the word Elohim is 2,600 times.
Oh, 20, oh wow, it's Elohim is 20. So again, unbelievable. I mean, what other word can you think of that's used over 2,500 times in the Bible? So that's a good point. That's a good observation. All right, I think we're good. If there's not any other thoughts, I'm trying to see who else we got on here that's participating. Listen, I know you don't want to see your faces, but we got about 10 of you that we can see your face, and then we got 10 of you that we can't see your face. Hey, there's Ronnie. I just saw Ronnie. There's Ronnie. Okay. And I see Frank and Debbie, I think I see Frank. How's it going? Yeah, good to see everybody. Hey, listen, I got to tell you a little story before we end. I thought it was curtains for me last week. We left Florida. I don't know if you know the story, but we got to Virginia, and they shut the highway down. So me and my wife and Nikki were in the car for 13 hours in park. And thank God I had enough gas because it was 21 degrees outside and I was just kind of nervous. We got on the highway about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So about 8, 9, 10, midnight, I'm down to a quarter of a tank. We were like falling asleep. And then finally at 3 in the morning, I look and I'm right below E. And I'm just praying that I still got heat in the car. And then when the sun came up, about 6 o'clock in the morning, the traffic started to move. But we sat in that car for 13 hours on the highway, just praying that the gas would hold out. And we also had to hold it too, because for 13 hours, where are you going to go to the bathroom, right? I mean, think about it, 13 hours. But anyway, we survived. The angel was with me. The angel was somewhere in the car or outside watching us, but that was a harrowing experience. All right, I think we're good. Let's close. Dan, can you close with a prayer, Brother Dan?
Okay. Gracious Father in heaven, we bow before you, Lord, to thank you once again for another hour of study. We thank you for the ability to do this in this fashion, and pray that we'll be able to meet in person again soon. Pray, Father, that you will guide and direct our paths, bless those who are struggling with their faith and those who are ill. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Hey, John, I was going to ask you, has Finger Lakes gone back? Or are you guys all Zooming? I mean, to meeting?
No, we're going back to meeting.
Oh, you are? Okay.
A lot of us are starting to catch the flu around here. I think I might have it myself. But
The flu?
Yeah, I'm feeling like off like a little bit and coughing.
Okay.
And I know Mike McDonald's got it. Ian had it, I heard. So like it's been spread around a little bit, but it's not that serious. You know what I mean? Nothing.
How do you know it's not COVID? Because they say this new strain is not that serious. It's like a cold.
It ain't nothing like what they're talking about. You know, it's yeah.
You got your taste buds, you got your smell, your taste.
Like that. Just that it seems like it wants to hang on, goes away one day, comes back another day. You know, my head. I can't believe there's that much stuff in my head. You know what I mean?
well, hang in there. You know, just
it's all right. Okay.
Not a good time right now, but we've been meeting the last 3 weeks now. I've been Zooming in Florida, but I don't know. I haven't seen any announcement yet about this Sunday. And Gary, is there any update, or is it still deciding whether we're going to Zoom again this weekend?
It hasn't been discussed yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. You know, just you don't realize it when you're away that you like to see people. It's good that we have this mechanism. It's good to see everybody, even Brother Stewart. I see Brother Stewart, right?
Sam, you should have called me. I was just down in Richmond. I could have just zoomed up there in the Subaru and picked you guys up. Brought you back over to Eric's house.
I forgot. Sarah said you guys were going to the gathering. Was the gathering in person or
no? They canceled it, but they had it on Zoom. So, but we went up there and visited and hung out for the week anyway.
Oh, good. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen you guys. Yeah, you probably had a better vehicle than mine, because the roads they don't plow there, they don't salt. It was terrible.
You're on 95.
95 in Sullivan County. Stopped.
We're about a county south of you or so, maybe 2 counties south, but
yeah. And I'm like a little claustrophobic, so just sitting in that car I had to get out of the car every so often to walk around it, because I was starting to get like that anxiety attacks, because I was just sitting there for 5 hours, 8 hours, 12. Luckily we traveled with a cooler, so we had water. I had provolone. I had some salami,
the essentials, as long as you have the essentials.
Exactly, the essentials, exactly. But looking forward to seeing everybody, and even everybody in the Finger Lakes too. I'd like to take a ride up there to see Tilly, Norma, and my Uncle Lou, the last of the Dillies. He's like 92. I'm hoping they all hang in there until I get up there. I just want to wait till this winter finishes so I can get up there in the spring to see everybody up there. Yeah. How's Norma doing? Any update, John? Do you know?
The only thing I know is from what you heard last time, is that she's, she's her mind, is like starting to be forgetful. So she remembers things in the old days, hard for her to remember anything, and late. I guess that's what happens, right? It's all it's like when your mother had that. Remember when your mom had that? She would remember me, but she wouldn't remember any of the kids. Like,
yeah, sad.
That's what happens, So that's what happens. And so she's slipping, but she's 89 now, I think 89.
Oh, Tilly's got to be up in the 80, at least 85, no?
Yeah. I think if it wasn't for her knees, she'd be doing pretty good. She had a bad knees.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, it's good to see everybody's face. Maybe next week we'll get some more faces. Ronnie's always got a smile on her face. I always like to see Ronnie. Always got a good smile. But I'm just kind of paging over because we got 20 people here. So good to see everybody's face. I even see Mike McDonald. I don't see him, but I see his name. So he might be listening. He might be taking notes,
You don't want to see us right now.
Oh, how you feeling?
Yeah, Mike and Judah are better, but I'm feeling it. And the
Oh, no.
okay.
So you think you got the flu or you don't know
No,
what you have?
all three of us tested positive for COVID.
Oh, you have? Okay. Well, we'll pray for you. You'll be
Thanks.
okay. You'll be okay. Good to hear your voice, April.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to see everybody. And Lord willing, we'll see you. If not this weekend, we'll see you soon. Or if not in Jerusalem, we'll be next week.
He was asking that
Up
today.
on the angels.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay. All
All right,
right.
have a good night.
Good seeing everybody.